Hello, welcome to episode 8 of Red Berets Medicare for All. Let me fix something here. All right. I catch myself saying too much. Welcome to, so there it is again. Welcome to our new live stream or our new YouTube channel. We have a few subscribers. So if you are watching this or want to share it out, please like and subscribe and share out. Again, I'm going to be establishing or doing Zoom and having some other members of Red Berets, and we'll continue to develop this as it goes along. But for right now, I'm just kind of getting comfortable with what I would like the format to be and what I would like the show to develop as before I begin to bring people on board. So, what did I want to cover today? I think, let's see, I'm going to Brie Joy Gray's Twitter feed right now because just a few minutes ago, I see it's been like an hour or two. Trying to find the original tweet where all of it starts. Well, let's start with the positive news, or the thing that I was feeling really happy about. I promised a particular somebody that I wasn't going to continue to bring her name into things. So let's just say thank you. I'm very happy about this new meme that I have of Brie Joy Gray. I was looking at her feed last night, and yeah, this was 16 hours ago, and she's retweeted a tweet that she did on 12/28. But what she said yesterday was, over the holidays, I spend hours watching the 2019 healthcare hearings and did a thread attempting to analyze how Dems could get a bigger bang out of their buck from another attempt. And what she had retweeted was, I'm an hour, 20 minutes into watching the 2019 Ways and Means Committee hearing on universal health care, and there hasn't been a single question aimed at exposing how much money anti-M for All witnesses or Congress members have taken from the private healthcare industry. And so I saw that, which I think I had retweeted back a month ago when she tweeted it out. But sometimes just particular quotes really strike me as I want to see that as something permanent that I can drop anytime. So I reach out to this wonderful meme artist and say, can you turn Brie Joy Gray's profile picture and see if it's possible to put a red beret on her head, love it with a whole Washington button, and use this quote, please. And sure enough, she did. So if you're on Twitter, I've been sharing it everywhere. Ryan Knight retweeted it. So I think it's a phenomenal and a very, very important point, and one where if she and if those people who are for taking a different strategy than what has been previously taken, because if we're going to use the benchmark of the type of organizing that's been done for single payer over the years, we are no closer. I mean, okay, maybe that's not a good point, but it's not passed yet, right? We haven't passed National Improved Medicare for All. So I think I just think I'm so sick and tired of seeing here it is Ryan Grimm who says, let me find it. It's just really frustrating because I see her being attacked all the time, and the same thing with Ryan Knight, as people who are quote unquote dividing the left because they are asking and making demands of progressive politicians to do a much more kind of tactical and aggressive approach to movement politics. That's what the moment actually demands. And if we look historically at what has been done, it's not a matter of disparaging. It's just, and I hate to use sports analogies because I'm not a sports person and I don't understand, but I do hear the analogy all the time about you wouldn't continue to hire the same coach. Maybe like their experience is valued. We need to take the things that are valuable from the orgs. No, we don't just dismiss all of the valuable work that's been done, but clearly the way of organizing has not reaped the rewards that we need. And we don't have 10 or 20 years to sit and piddle around with what hasn't worked in the past. We need to take a fresh and new approach and try to integrate it in with what is helpful in the current organizing. So if I could find my way to what I wanted to do. So Ryan Grimm's tweet, I think, was like 3 days ago. He says, the nurses union lead organizer said that nobody from Force the Vote ever reached out to them about their idea for a floor vote. The disdain for organizing doesn't need to extend all the way to not contacting the leading group pushing M4A. So Brie Joy Gray retweets that with, I reached out to National Nurses Union and was in the process of scheduling someone for Bad Faith Pod prior to Force the Vote, 11/19/20, but the holidays interfered. I followed up 12/21 as Force the Vote emerged and was told ultimately 1/13/21 that due to COVID, no one was available. The invitation is open. Moreover, Ryan is misrepresenting what the organizer said on his show. The organizer said appropriately, quote, I don't want to speak on if there were any efforts to do so. I personally wasn't reached out to. And then she continues, when Jasmine, the NNU organizer, interviewed on Ryan's program, I reached out to NNU again, asking whether their schedule had cleared up and whether they were sending folks out for interviews. They responded that RNs are still overwhelmed and Jasmine is an organizer, not a nurse. They kindly offered me contact information to get in touch with MFA, Medicare for All organizers. I am following up. But again, I've been told by NNU that all of their nurses are unavailable for interviews due to prioritizing COVID treatment. I did, however, interview Michael Leidy. I know this because I watched and shared the interview with Michael Leidy, and I remember saying and retweeting and saying, this is a really important interview. I hope everybody shares it. I hope everybody stops talking solely about Jimmy Dore and actually focuses on the work that's being done here. Additionally, all of the threads that she did on the hearings, the Ways and Means hearings that she listened to and fleshed out a lot of extremely important information. Again, I didn't see that being amplified. She says, I did, however, interview Michael Leidy, former director of public policy for NNU, Healthcare Constituency Director for Bernie 220, and former National Director of DSA on Bad Faith on 12/28. His interview was clarifying and informative. I expressed skepticism for what is apparently the new plan for Medicare for All, a state-by-state approach starting in California and brought nationwide by, among other things, a Gavin Newsom presidency. Well, that is... the skepticism, I'm not so happy to hear about, Brie. I'll have to retweet about this. And not that we should not have skepticism for it. Let me read that again. I expressed skepticism for what is apparently the new plan for Medicare for All, a state-by-state approach starting in California and brought nationwide by, among other things, a Gavin Newsom presidency. Well, I would argue that there's very little chance that we're going to do this on a nationwide basis, which I think was like Force the Vote was a single prayer that we had of pushing this into the national spotlight and creating, really extracting something for the vote, which was her whole point all along. I think the best thing that we would hope for is a public option. And I don't even think that we'll get that. I don't even think we'll get a public option under the Biden administration. So to continue to not bring one-payer states into the conversation and show, I actually think it's the opposite. Like, if people don't start recognizing and interviewing organizations such as Whole Washington and understanding like what the Democratic Party is doing at the state level to undermine a fully funded universal health care bill, single payer bill, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. The more time that we give, and 4 years is far too long. 4 years is far too long to give the industry time to blanket the airwaves and perpetuate. If we think that people are, sorry, I interrupt myself a lot when I speak and I get fired up about this. This is too much time to continue. As you know, we talked about Wendell Potter recently and the importance of getting his message out there, and the PR campaign and the organizing force that is already behind things at the state level. I don't want to go into it exactly right now. The shenanigans that we are seeing as Whole Washington, that they've introduced even another. It's not an actual bill. It's like an intention. We call it, like a referendum. And they got somebody, maybe I won't name names right now. They got somebody whose record to introduce this bill so they can use it as a foil so that Whole Washington doesn't, even though we have 7 Senate co-sponsors, so that we can't get a hearing for an actual universal health care bill that's fully funded. And they got somebody, I mean, I guess this is, okay, I'm just going to get way too fired up. They got someone who basically, when we checked into the record, her campaign contributions are solely from the Democratic Party and different, LDs and the state party and, her own, right? So basically her slate looks relatively clean because the money is all laundered through the Democratic Party. And so in other words, that they found the perfect person to introduce that legislation, because we can't turn and say, oh, look at how much industry money, look at how much insurance and pharma money that this person is taking. No wonder she's right. So to not include good one-payer states in this strategy right now, the same way that Canada did it, they passed it state by state, is a big mistake. So I hope that we can get people to cover Whole Washington. Michael Leidy does not agree, and when he doesn't agree with the ballot initiative process. He doesn't support the ballot initiative process, and he led a seminar at the Healthcare for All conference that myself and several other Whole Washington volunteers and board members, he did the seminar on Saturday and he did it again on Sunday. And, he's been supportive and, he's been supportive of Red Berets online and whatnot. So again, it's not like to disparage him. I thought he was very, very helpful and clear on the interview with Brie Joy Gray. I also said in a recent, in a YouTube video stream, that I do think that it's important, the information, the slides and everything that he shared about historically the ballot initiative losses in the past, how they have failed. And his point was we need like $5 million to even think that we could take on the industry in a particular state, and then all the talking points that people that want to gatekeep real people outdoing the most direct form of action you can take towards passing Medicare for all or universal health care legislation is a ballot initiative to the people. That's my opinion. That's the most kind of I hate using the word pure, but it is actually getting real people who are volunteers, who are nurses, who are teachers, who are holistic healthcare practitioners, who are union members, who are members of the tribe, all different people going around having personal one-to-one conversations. So the seminar that he led, where he's not in favor of the ballot initiative based on failures of the past, to me, that argument disappears when we talk about the failures of the legislation, right, of the legislators. We don't have any success on that front either. And there's not a hell of a lot we can do. When we call and we write our members of Congress and our senators, both at the state level, if you live in a one-payer state, who's working on this at the local and state level, and then we call, our our federal legislators for the National Improved Medicare for All legislation. We do it on both fronts, and we are ignored. And if you are anyone who has ever made those calls, you know that to be the case. We attend town halls, we yell, we scream, we ask nicely, we do it every which way. And we will continue to do it that way. But it's being ignored. We're being ignored. We understand that we can't get any representation this way. So in my opinion, to only represent what has failed about ballot initiatives before is it's simply not, it's not accurate, and it's not the whole context. It's not the whole picture. When you consider the kind of movement building, I had people sign the petition who would tell me, I'm not sure if I'm for this, but I actually believe in something getting to the ballot so that I can make a decision, and I might vote against it. And then you had people who were adamantly against universal health care and are like, hell no, I don't want that. No, I'm not signing that. But I also did have quite a few people sign who were like, I believe in the process of, democracy and one person having a vote. And if this passes by over 50%, then it becomes law. So as Georgia Davenport always, as she said one time, and I continue to quote her on this, ballot initiatives do what they say they're going to do. Obviously, our elected officials don't do that. And, I'm going to continue to say that as much as I'm going to continue to call my representative, I already know he's not going to co-sponsor. National Nurses can get us to be field organizers or congressional district organizers to try to bring more people to call Representative Kilmer. In my case, he had a really strong primary challenge from the left. Now, Tacoma DSA co-chair Rebecca Parson. I supported Rebecca Parson. A lot of progressives supported Rebecca Parson. She ran a good campaign, and she didn't unseat him. It's an enormous challenge to unseat somebody with all of the party power behind them, and he has a lot of it. And he absolutely is not going to move on Medicare for all. So this strategy of leaving one-payer states out while the insurance lobby continues to dump false information on people. And we're going to wait around until hopefully we have a chance in 2024. That's at the best case scenario. So I don't have skepticism for one-payer states. I have skepticism for people who spend more time undermining tactics like force the vote or one-payer states or ballot initiatives than they do having fucking solidarity. If I had any monetization, that I would be canceled for that. But I get very upset about this because whole Washington is still being left out of the conversation. I came out very, very strongly for force the vote. And again, he could have mentioned Michael Lighty. He could have mentioned Whole Washington. They know who we are. I want to understand what it is about Whole Washington, of why we are being so majorly left out of the national conversation. And it's why I'm here on YouTube for the most part. That, and also to tell people about, hey, we're crafting these things. People can knit and crochet Bernie's mittens to help all of these causes and raise massive amounts of money for Meals on Wheels and other amazing charities. Let's start crafting for National Improved Medicare for All, and let's do it in a way that actually builds some creative solidarity. I'm sorry if I sound completely angry on this live feed. I am tired of it. I even in the force the vote stuff, I got a retweet from Susan Sarandon, which I'm enormously grateful of. I felt part of that movement. That's the thing, is I felt part of doing something in the moment that was like actually fighting for people who are dying. That's what Force the Vote was about. It wasn't about Jimmy Dore. It wasn't about any of these single personalities that, and so if this is what our leftist media are going to do, is make it about personalities and somehow erase, and that's the problem in Ryan Grimm's I'm not even going to pull up all of the tweets. You'd have to go to Brie Joy Gray's feed and his feed to go look at the enormous amount of rubbish and crap, and basically how real organizers, real nurses, this isn't only about National Nurses United. I'm appreciative of National Nurses United, but I've had nurses following me on Red Berets Medicare for All. There are nurses crafting these Red Berets for Medicare for All and wearing them. There are nurses who have gathered thousands upon thousands of signatures for Whole Washington, for universal health care in 2018, which we got basically no coverage for whatsoever. And I'll be damned if we're going to go into another initiative process and continue to be ignored by this movement, because we are local organizers, we are national organizers. And I, for one, am sick and tired of being discounted and erased. I am a veteran for peace who has knit at least 300 Red Berets over the course of 3.5 years, gathered signatures for a ballot initiative, organized I don't know how many events for Bernie 220, gotten a group of creative crafters together, and thanks to Georgia Davenport's idea, it was sort of a collaborative idea that we thought finally, we could put these on Whole Washington's website on their merch page, and then people can wear a Red Beret in solidarity for National Improved Medicare for All and for hustle at the state level. For working as hard as we can for local efforts, if they're good, solid, universal healthcare, single-payer efforts, which Whole Washington is. And I'm not sure what the hell it is, why there are gatekeepers who are keeping this strategy down. But I'm extremely, extremely upset about it. And I guess if people share this, they're going to be like, wow, that knitter is super angry and fired up. I'm really, really, really tired of Whole Washington, who has done so much organizing for the national movement, for National Nurses United, for other one-payer states, providing a template for other states who want it, if they have if they're lucky enough to have the ballot initiative process. They are inviting guests like Wendell Potter onto their Book of the Month Club, so that if you go to wholewashington.org, you can then listen to that interview and you can share that out and you can benefit from his knowledge. And by the way, Wendell Potter said on his interview, if you go on YouTube and you search Whole Washington YouTube, you can find that interview. And if you listen to it, he says he is happy to help Whole Washington in any way he can, any way that he could help Whole Washington. He's happy to do it. Please reach out to him anytime. That's Wendell Potter. National best-selling book author, whistleblower for, whistleblower on the corruption of the insurance lobby. So if he's willing to help Whole Washington, Why the hell aren't other people? Why the hell are we trying to make this? We shouldn't be shutting any voices out. We shouldn't be shutting out people who were forced the vote, because we need stuff done now, pronto. We shouldn't be continuing to waste energy arguing and infighting about that. What is that for, Ryan Grimm? Is that to protect people? That is what it is. That must be what it is. Anyway, I think I'm going to go for now. And you can visit my pin tweet. You can order a Red Beret if you want to help us. I would be very appreciative. And I hope the next time that I'm on this live feed, it will be a little more positive. But I'm quite frustrated right now. Go share some good stuff. Take care.